So this is a sun oven that folds up. It carries like a suitcase. It only weighs 21 pounds, and you can bake and boil and steam food in the sun oven. To set it up takes just a matter of seconds. All you do is open this up, and then you put your food inside the chamber, and it has a tray inside that will keep the food level if you move it to follow the sun. And if you're going to cook in it, you put your food in here, you latch this, and it forms a totally airtight seal. And in good sun, this will get up to temperatures as high as 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Consistently in this area, probably 350 to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And the oven is designed so it can adjust wherever the sun is in the horizon. So like in the winter or in the early mornings or late afternoons, there's 9 different settings that you can set to adjust the sun wherever it's on the horizon to be able to maximize the angles of it. And this leg has a little pin, of course, that you set, but it also has a little indentation drilled in the bottom of it, so that if you're spinning this around trying to figure out where it is, if you just look at this little hole in the bottom, you know exactly how to line it up. And the amazing thing about cooking in a sun oven is that food doesn't burn and food doesn't dry out. When we cook in the sun, there's no movement of air, so nothing dries out. And when we're cooking in here, it's a completely even heat. If I have food in the pot in the oven, the food inside the pot and the air around it are all exactly the same temperature. So it heats completely evenly. If you think of the reverse of that, if I had this on my stovetop and I was transferring the heat from the stove burner to the pot and then the pot to the food, of course, I have to keep stirring it to keep it from scorching or burning. But because the food is completely, the heat, is completely even, the food never burns. So you never have to worry about it burning. And as I say, it doesn't dry out, so it's about the most forgiving method of cooking you'll ever find. One rule of thumb when it comes to cooking in a sun oven is, if you're in doubt, just cook it longer and it's not going to hurt anything. Because the whole chamber is one temperature, it allows a lot of flexibility. I mean, a lot of times people think, oh, it's small, I can only cook one thing at a time. But if, for example, now last month we do a lot of work in Haiti, and in Haiti their main food staple is beans and rice, and when they get variety they get rice and beans. I mean, it's pretty much all they eat there. And what we'll do is we'll teach them to take a pot of beans, put it in the sun oven, let it cook, and then when the beans are 2/3 done, take a pot of rice and put it on top and let that cook, and then whenever they're ready, the food's done and ready to eat. So I mean, you can put 2 pots in at the same time, or you've got a whole large area that you can use for cooking. And when you cook in the sun oven, because it's a completely even heat, you don't have to really worry about it. You don't have to be exacting in timing, and it will allow you a lot of flexibility. Now, the oven's been designed so that it can be used in a developing country for 15 years with no maintenance. And so these reflectors, for example, are made of anodized aluminum. It's a highly polished aluminum, which is 86% reflective, which means that 86% of the light that would shine anywhere on the reflectors would shine into the oven's chamber, so it allows it to get extremely hot. But these reflectors have a rating that they could be used every day from sunup to sunset for 15 years, and they will never lose their reflectivity, and they aren't going to oxidize, rust, or corrode. So if you have a sun oven and you store it in a garage or storage area when you're not using it, there's no reason it won't last a lifetime. The inner box of the oven and this leveling tray are made of the same material. It's a black anodized aluminum. It's a black aluminum that if food spills, is very easy to clean. You can just take this leveling tray out of the oven and wash it in the kitchen sink. You can just wipe the inside out with a rag with dish soap, and it's easy to clean. Because, and I'll talk about pots a little bit, but basically anything you cook in a sun oven other than bakery goods, you cook in a pot with a lid on it. You don't have the same kind of cleaning on the inside of the sun oven you do in your regular oven, because nothing's going to splatter and it doesn't really make a mess. It's just if you're clumsy like I often am and drop something or spill something, then you have to clean the inside. Now, the outer box of the oven is actually made of a ABS plastic, but between the aluminum inner box and the plastic outer box is a very thick pad of a non-toxic food-grade fiberglass insulation. It's the same kind of insulation that's used in pizza ovens. So it can be 400 degrees Fahrenheit inside the chamber. I can touch anywhere on the side and I don't feel any heat. and the reflectors never get hot either. So there's nothing that in using the oven that wouldn't be safe if you needed to use it if you're working with it. Now the other important parts in the oven's components is that the frame that holds this all together is made of wood, and the wood binds it all together. And then actually the most important part of the whole oven, more important than the gasket, more important than the reflectors or anything else, is this black gasket. This gasket forms a totally tight seal to keep the chamber airtight, but it also, if the food outgases, it allows the gas to escape. So that's one of the reasons a sun oven will get quite a bit hotter than any other type of solar cooking device and will retain its heat so much longer, is because with the gasket it has a totally airtight seal. One of the things that's absolutely amazing when you cook in the sun is just the taste of foods. Because food doesn't dry out, it just is amazing how good food tastes. One of the things I oftentimes will make in the sun oven is a chicken. And there's two ways to cook in the sun oven. Let's say I was going to make a 3-pound chicken. I could take a 3-pound chicken, put it in the pot, and if I refocus the oven every 30 minutes, I could cook a 3-pound chicken in an hour and a half. Or I could wait and see what the weatherman says the weather's going to be for the day, and if it's going to be a sunny day, take a frozen chicken, put it in a pot, set the oven facing due south, leave for the day, and come back at dinner and have a perfectly cooked roast. And it wouldn't make any difference if I came home for dinner at 4 o'clock or at 7 o'clock. I would have a completely cooked roast, and it would be moist and warm. So the oven is very versatile in what it can do. As I said, the whole chamber is one temperature, so if I want to bake bread, for example, I could take and put 2 loaves of bread on the leveling tray, and I could bake 2 loaves of bread at a time. The amazing thing about baking bread is that I bake bread at temperatures as low as 250 degrees, and I bake bread in our large oven. We make a commercial size oven. I bake bread at temperatures that are as much as 200 degrees hotter than the recipe, or almost 600 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's strictly a function of the time. It doesn't affect the quality. And on a day when it's overcast, I bake bread at 250 degrees. Normally I can bake 1 loaf of bread in about 45 minutes, 2 loaves in about an hour and 10 minutes. But on an overcast day, I've baked bread at temperatures as low as 250 and taken almost 3 hours to do it. And it takes longer, but it doesn't affect the quality of it. And what we find is that the hidden cost of cooking is in the summer. If you bake or if you make anything and you turn on your oven or even turning on your stovetop on a hot day, it can cause then your house to get heated up. So the hidden cost of having to cool down your house is pretty significant. So using a sun oven outdoors can really reduce your utility bills quite a bit, and it's a lot less work. As I say, it's extremely forgiving. You can put it in one place and leave it for several hours, or the more often you refocus it, the faster it cooks. But there's a couple of other uses that you can use a sun oven for, and one of them is it makes a wonderful solar dryer or solar dehydrator. And if you like to dry fruits and vegetables, if you garden, at some points in the year you may have too much of something and you want to dry it. So it's wonderful for drying or dehydrating. All you have to do is set it in the sun and it will dry. For drying, dehydrating, it's ideal to stay in temperatures that are between about 110 and 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Another use of the sun oven that's great is for water purification. Now you can boil water in the sun oven. Anything, again, that you do in the sun oven, bakery goods, you want to put in a pot in it. So if you were going to boil water, you'd want to put it in a pot, or I like doing it in canning jars because that holds the moisture in real well. So basically, it's something that will last for 15 years. It will save quite a bit of money and reduce your utility costs,